we're going to be solving minimum number of moves to make a palindrome. So we said that given a string s, we're going to return the number of moves required to make s into a palindrome. So what is a palindrome at first? So when we talk about a palindrome, when it's a word that's or a string, now when we swap it, right, when we reverse it, it's equal to the same original string. So let's go deeper into it. So for example, if this was cxxc, if I swap this c and this c, and I swap this x and the x, it's still going to be the same thing. But this problem is more advanced in the sense that it's asking that we have we have s over here, right? And the ccxx is asking how many moves do I have to make this into a palindrome. Now I have this ccxx over here. I have to, if I transform it and I say okay, let's move c and x, we have cx cx. Then if I say okay, I want to still make this a palindrome, so let's move c and x again, then we have cxxc. So that's one of the sample examples. Same process over here. We have arc acer. Okay, now if I'm looping through it and I say okay, the first thing I can say is let's move a and c. That way we have arcc aer. And then if I continue and I say let's move e and a, that way we have arcc arcc If I continue doing it, then we can move it until it becomes a race car, which is a palindrome. Now these are some questions to ask if we understand the problem. So what is the output of NITIIN? So first of all, if we look at N and TIIN, let's see, it is already a palindrome. So if I swap N and N, so that will still be the same NITTI. But we need to swap I and T to make it a palindrome. So it will be NITIN. So I believe that is going to be 1. If we continue, by the way, I'm using educative.io. I feel like it helps me understand the process through everything. So yeah, I encourage you to use it. Now we have MAMAD. Now let's see. So if I swap M and D, that cannot work. So let's see. So if I do MAMDA, so I'll swap the first one. And if I do I'm just thinking, I'm writing things down by the way. MAM. If I move D and M and I swap that A, that is 1 swap, that is 2 swaps. Then let's say that I want to swap again. So if I do MADAM, that is 3. So that is MADAM makes it a palindrome. So I believe this is going to be 3. So the first time I swapped 2 characters. So let's see. Okay, and we see the explanation here too. So that's why I like educative, because I can visualize the problem. Then let's continue. So if a string was transformed into a palindrome this in 2 moves, what would be the original output? So now we're trying to think about it from backwards. We're going to think about the algorithm from backwards. I think writing things down also help a lot so that you can remember. So if I have XY, OOXY, and so 2 moves ago, this was not a palindrome. I'm trying to think. So if I do XOY, OXY, you know what? I'm going to skip to the problem just so that we can continue. But I solved everything though previously. So let's figure it out. We have a game to play. So this is how educative works. You rearrange the thought patterns to solve this problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to need to initialize moves with 0 and to keep track of the number of swaps required. I'm definitely going to be returning moves, but I'm going to need to iterate through the entire string, the entire list. So I'm going to need to go through it step by step. So I'm going to initialize the string. I need to iterate through the string to the two ends of the array, and I'll keep on iterating through it when I is less than j. So I think I'm going to have an inner loop that searches from j to see if it matches. If it matches, we're going to swap it. If it does not match, we're not going to swap it. So let's see. Okay, so I got the puzzle. So now I started working on this, but I was getting confused. But so that's why I reviewed the solution. But I'm just going to solve it with you today. Now, one thing that I need to do first of all is I need to transform this into a list so I can iterate through it easily. And then I'm going to initialize moves like we spoke about before in our steps. Then I'm going to say that, so what I want to do now, I know I'm going to be returning moves, so I can put that there. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to say that I'm going to initialize my I and my j pointers. So I'm going to say I is equal to 0 and j is equal to my length of s minus 1. And then I'm going to say while, like this says, we're going to continue looping through it while I is less than j. So while I has not reached the beginning, while j has not reached the beginning of the string. So I'm going to say while let me increase my screen. While I is less than j, what we're going to be doing is we are going to create a new variable that's going to say k, right? K is equal to j, and we're just going to be using k to be checking if a character matches si. So j is 7 like as the inner loop. Now, so k is equal to j, and we're going to say while k is greater than I, because remember j is the end of the string. J is the end of the string of the list. Let's say the list instead, right? And I is the beginning. So if I'm making k equal to j, it's also going to be at the end currently. So when my k is greater than I, I'm going to be checking for if they're the same, right? So I'm going to be saying that if si is equal to sk, then I'm going to loop through it and swap it. So for m in range k, j, I'm going to say for m in range k, j, I'm going to say sm, sm plus 1 is equal to sm plus 1, Now I'm going to, because I'm swapping it, I know that, oh, I have to increment my moves. Then what I'm going to do is, after this first loop, I'm going to decrement j, because j is going to be moving backwards. So j minus equal to 1. Then we're gonna break this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to decrement k. So then we're going to say this is very technical. if k is not equal to 1, we're going to say moves, we're going to increment moves by the length of our string divided by 2 minus I. Then we are going to increment I by 1, and we're going to return moves. Okay, I got some passing, some failing. Let's see, am I doing wrong? The error arises because of condition. Oh, sorry, this was meant to be if k is equal to I, not if k is equal to 1. So let's run this. Okay, awesome. So I'm getting this. So what, as you can see in this one, we're iterating through it multiple times. So there are multiple inner while loops, and there's also a for loop. So because of that, we're going to say this is an O of n square for time complexity. Then as for space complexity, it's O of n. So yeah, thank you.